They thought he was just another white-collar inmate. Soft, scared, easy to break. But they had no idea who he was about to become.
We got your rules and we got the gang's rules.
Inside these walls, survival means sacrifice. And Jacob? He didn't just adapt. He became the deadliest man in this prison.
Say it.
You're running the show.
This was Jacob, a loving father, a good man, and this is what prison turned him into. How does someone change so much? Let's rewind. Jacob had it all. A big house, nice cars, a stable job, and most importantly, family who loved him. Life was good. He was content. But everything flipped overnight. After a night out with close friends,
I need the light!
Jacob's car crashed into another vehicle. One of his best friends died on the spot, and his friend's wife was badly injured. Even though it was an accident, Jacob had alcohol in his system, so he was charged with driving under the influence. He was arrested, and the case went to court. The judge reviewed everything and handed down a brutal sentence: 7 years in state prison. When his wife, Catherine, found out, she broke down in tears. She couldn't picture raising their son alone for the next 7 years. A few days later, Jacob was transferred to a California prison. The moment he arrived, fear set in. He didn't know what to expect inside. Would someone hurt him? Would he survive? The headlines, the stories, the horror, all of it rushed back. Murders, assaults. Prison wasn't a place for a man like Jacob. Jacob started thinking about one thing: how he was going to protect himself in here. On his first night inside, Jacob saw something brutal: a group of inmates ganging up on someone in the dark. That was the moment it hit him. If he didn't show strength, he'd be next. He'd either lose all dignity or his life. The next morning, the prisoners were taken to the yard. There, Jacob accidentally bumped into a massive black inmate, but he remembered what his lawyer said: stand your ground or lose everything. He could try to avoid trouble, but sooner or later trouble would come looking for him. Jacob didn't hesitate. He landed a punch, holding his ground and sending a message. The guards jumped in and broke up the fight. Jacob was thrown into solitary for it, but what he didn't know was someone was watching. His name was Bottles, a feared gang leader inside the prison. He saw Jacob's boldness and decided to bring him into his crew. And in this place, having the right people behind you could mean survival. So Jacob agreed. Bottles told him no one would lay a hand on him, but in return, he'd have to pull some weight. It started small, simple errands. But Bottles was impressed. And the next task? Much darker. Jacob was ordered to kill another inmate. He'd never taken a life before. But Bottles didn't give him a choice. And if Jacob backed out now, he'd be alone, a target. The enemies he'd made would come for him fast. But with fear in his gut, Jacob followed orders. And killed the man. The act shattered him inside. But on the outside, he was now known. Everyone started calling him Money. He grew out his beard, inked up his body, and slowly became the gangster version of himself. Someone his old family wouldn't even recognize. Later on, one of his gangmates, Shotgun, brought up a name: Gomez. Gomez was the ruthless head of a rival gang, a guy who could kill without blinking. Not long after, tension boiled over. A full-blown war broke out between the gangs. In the chaos, Jacob, now Money, had no choice. He jumped into the brawl, and when another inmate went to attack Gomez, Money stepped in and made the kill. The attack earned Gomez's respect. He realized that without Money's help, he might not have made it out alive. But there was a problem. The violent act was caught on a prison camera. When the court reviewed the footage, Money's sentence was extended by another 9 years. When Catherine heard the news, she was shattered. But Money told her, "Forget about me. It's better this way." He knew he might never walk free again. What she didn't know was that her husband barely existed anymore. Even their son wouldn't recognize him. Money was transferred to another prison, one known for housing the worst of the worst. There, he learned about a terrifying inmate named Beast. No one saw him. No one spoke to him. But Money made it his goal to connect with him. To get Beast's attention, Money picked a fight with another inmate. The guards broke it up fast, blasting him with pepper spray. But Beast took notice. He arranged a meeting. Beast ran his whole empire from inside the prison, and he was impressed by Money's guts. The two talked.
So the question is, are you ready?
Yes.
And just like that, Beast made him his right-hand man. Time passed. Money's sentence was reduced, and eventually, he was released. One day, Beast contacted him. He wanted Money to meet up with gang members on the outside and help close a huge weapons deal, something critical to the gang. Money didn't want any part of it. He was done with this world. But Beast made a threat.
Before you say another word, think of your family in this decision.
If Money refused, his family would pay the price. Trapped between his love for them and the life he couldn't seem to escape, Money agreed. But his mind was spinning. Could he really keep going like this? When he stepped out of prison, he saw a shotgun and a few others waiting for him. They had already made bail. But why were they waiting for Money? The truth was clear. Money no longer had a connection to his family. But deep inside, he still dreamed of starting over with them. Being one of us ends at the gate, Shotgun told him. It ends when you're 6 feet deep. Until then, you keep earning for your brothers. A few days later, Money went to meet Gomez, who had recently been released from prison. They talked casually, but something in the conversation hinted at tension. The storm was coming. Later, Money went to visit Catherine. They spoke for a bit. Then he handed her some money. Use it for the family, he said. The look in his eyes said more than words. He still loved them deeply, but he had made up his mind. This would be the last time he'd ever see her. Something in the air shifted. This decision was a turning point. One day, Catherine and their son showed up unexpectedly. The moment Money saw them, panic hit him hard. He rushed over, told them to leave. If anyone here sees you, they'll kill you, he warned. But then, something heartbreaking happened. His son refused to go. Trembling, he begged to stay with his dad. Money froze, overwhelmed by emotion. Tears welled up in his eyes. He locked the door and turned away, silently breaking apart inside. You're on your own path now.
Your job is to take care of yourself and your mom.
His son tried to speak. You're still my dad. But Money couldn't bear it. The pain was unbearable. He wanted nothing more than to go with them. But his life, filled with enemies and danger, wouldn't allow that kind of peace. So he made a cold, final choice. But how? During the final weapons deal Beast had assigned to him, Money made a risky move. He tipped off the police, quietly leaking the location moments later. They stormed in and arrested him on the spot. When the case went to trial, the judge gave his verdict. Money was sentenced to life in prison again. He was locked away again this time for being tied to the gun deal. But soon, Beast found out the truth. Money had sent the tip to the cops from his own phone, ruining everything. Furious, Beast demanded to see him. Money was summoned to meet face to face.
I gave you a gift. How does it feel to be the walking dead? Get this lame away from me!
As he walked down the corridor, a heavy silence filled the air. Was he walking into a trap, or did he have something planned? This time, Money came prepared. He had a small blade hidden under his sleeve, and he'd secretly stolen a key from one of the guards. What was he about to do? Would he turn the tables, or be slaughtered? As an officer began to escort Money out, Money flipped the script. He turned, threatened the officer, and locked him inside the cell. Then, with cold precision, he unlocked Beast's door. And the two clashed in a brutal, savage fight. This wasn't about survival. It was a final reckoning. With the blade in hand, Money fought like a man with nothing to lose. And in the end, Beast was dead.
Nobody's touching my family.
Bloodied but calm, Money turned to the terrified guard. You're going to testify that I killed him in self-defense, he said. And if you do, you'll get a payout. If you don't, you'll end up just like him.
Say it.
You're running the show.
The guard nodded. Shaking, he gave the exact testimony Money asked for. Now, Jacob, or Money, was more than just a survivor. He had become the new leader of the most powerful gang in the prison system. With Beast gone and his family safe, he made one last move. He gave the police intel about the hidden weapons cache, earning their trust and tightening his grip on the game. A few days later, Money received a letter. It was from his son, Josh. Josh wrote that they were doing okay, that they were happy now, and most of all, they forgave him. Money broke down reading the words. Every sacrifice, every choice, every drop of freedom he gave up, it had all been for this. to keep them safe. So now, it's your turn. What would you have done in his place? Has money truly escaped his enemies? Or is this just the calm before the next storm? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If this story moved you, there are more just like it waiting for you. Subscribe to Sigma Recap. I am where every film hits deeper than the last. And as always, stay strong, stay sharp, stay Sigma.